My name's Emily Estes, and I'm a myofascial therapist. I own Wild Grace Wellness Center, and here at Wild Grace we have a 94-degree saltwater therapy pool and treatment rooms. My husband, George Chapman, and I built Wild Grace to offer opportunity for people to heal, feel safe, be connected to nature. And I didn't know when I was building it that it was going to offer me an opportunity to grow the myofascial release of John Barnes that I've been learning and loving. Thank you, John, for teaching me how to be authentic and how to enjoy life and live an MFR paradigm. And I've had the great honor of taking John's work into the warm therapy pool. And we now call that aquatic myofascial release, or my favorite, Mermaid fascial freedom. I've always resonated with the water. I've always loved dolphins, mermaids, snorkeling, scuba diving, sailing. Water, I think, is an element of freedom and healing for me. And being able to take myofascial release into the warm therapy pool has been a joy. The part about Mermaid Fascial Freedom that I enjoy the most is helping people unwind in the water. Unwinding is one of the more juicy and interesting parts of John's work. It allows us to tap deeply into areas in our body that have been, for whatever reason, scarred down, held back, full of tension, full of unresolved emotions.
I connect very much with the ocean. You don't think about many things when you're in the water, just when's the next wave coming and what am I going to do on the wave, and it's a great time to clean your head from anything else that happened before, or it's a great distraction from reality.
Maybe even you could call it tissue memories of times when we disassociated and were not interested in being in our bodies, and we've somehow not been able to move forward. And when we get in the warm water and we allow ourselves to be quiet, the stillness of being in the warm water, I believe, helps us tap deeply into those areas, and we allow ourselves to start moving and making noise and processing these deep-held, interesting issues in our lives. And it doesn't mean it's always painful. It can be very joyous, it can be very freeing, and it can also help us move through deeply held beliefs about ourselves that are no longer serving us, as well as enjoying the unwinding process without the table and gravity getting in our way. One of the things that I find most challenging and yet also the most expansive about Mermaid Fascial Freedom is the dialogue evaporates, because the person usually has their ears in the water. They're usually, eyes are closed. They surrender to the water. And that means they get to experience a whole new dimension of themselves, a stillness, if you will, that you don't always have on the table when, as therapists, we are offering up little tidbits, dialoguing, noticing patterns. So the silence that can help move a patient along is a very different dynamic than working on land, but it is incredibly multifaceted, and it is incredible to step back and give the person more space than you might on the table. So it offers up a really interesting area of growth, both for the client and the therapist. Unwinding for me has been a huge opening for my own healing and for my own ability to get in touch with how I really feel. And in the warm water, it's even more fascinating. And I think sometimes people want to move so much in the water that they forget that the most exciting part of unwinding is finding those places inside your being that you would like to let go of, whether it's pain, fear, anger, jealousy, disappointment, things that are holding you back, the dark side, if you wish, or the heavy side of being alive, so that we can have more joy flowing through us, be able to know why we're here, embrace that mission that John talks about, and go with it, and have the personal fortitude to be willing to look deep inside and let go of those icky parts that we don't really want to admit that we have. I have a fabulous client that is new to MFR, and she loves unwinding, and in the pool she is like a dolphin, and I have to like chase after her. And during a session recently, I asked her to stay heavy in her body and give herself more of an opportunity to feel inside rather than this big expression of movement. For 45 minutes she was doing that, and I thought it was great that it was finally getting to a place where she was ready to feel deeper. And after 5 minutes of working on her psoas and her being quiet, she sank to the bottom of the pool and had a big emotional release and cried. And it was so beautiful for her to come up and say, "Thank you for slowing me down. Thank you for helping me see what I've been avoiding." And I believe that unwinding gives us that opportunity to do exactly that. Slow down, feel what we would like to let go of, create space and fluidity in our being and in our bodies so that we can live delicious, juicy lives.